Yo, hello everybody. Hope you're well this morning. Feeling good, feeling happy, feeling ready for the day. Coming into the weekend, Friday feelings. That's good. No? So, yeah, I'm good. Hope you're good. Hope you're having a good time. Everything's good. And you're really happy because we got the questions. Yes, we got the questions. And they're actually some pretty good ones. I've read through them this morning. I like the questions. Very good. So let's begin now. If we enable an editing, let's go. So, two sheets of questions. Number one. Hi, Daniel. Hello, Rocco and Ramatic. I saw Daniel comparing the TradingView fixed range with his EXO merged profiles sometimes. Why? What is the difference with TradingView fixed range if we talk about volume? Good question, my friend, or friends, plural. Basically, the reason why I like to use TradingView as well as EXO, like for the people that don't understand what they mean, this is obviously something I'll generally do on the Sunday Champions live streams. You'll see it quite often, where I will, for example, merge a range. So we all know the range that I'm currently merging, as exactly as predicted. We had this range merged from Wednesday, and how lovely. Oh yeah, some people were giving me tips like you zoom out, and if you then enter the right amount of numbers, it works. It doesn't. XO is glitched when it comes to merging. This thing just never works. So we're probably going to have to enter 10. And this is the same range that we were looking at on Wednesday. So we merge again. We're obviously going back to around the 19th of June. 1, 2, and 3 times. So there we go. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to remove the sessions. So, e.g., we have this range on EXO charts that I really liked from the 19th of June. This was a range that I was predicting where we had a very strong low and we had a very strong high of resistance. In the end, we all know we done a swing failure pattern of the high, easiest short you're ever going to see. Come on, very easy short position, and bam, into that point of control. And this was brilliant. If you were looking at the trading update that I gave you last night, obviously this is what it was looking like on Sunday. Not Sunday, Wednesday. We obviously had, we're aware of this point of control as support. Then we come down and we hit it absolutely spot on yesterday or last night to the absolute dollar for over 2.5%. Actually, it was bigger than that. That bounce in the end equaled about it was obviously this exact bottom. We come up for nearly 4% bounce. Incredible, amazing bounce to take the highs and come all the way back down for a secondary bounce off that level for another nearly 3%. Like, come on, that level is absolutely insane. Going a little bit off track, but that is just incredible. Come on, that was so good. That was so good. Anyway, going back to the question, why do I look at it first in EXO charts, which obviously gave us that level, and then also I would also then pull this same fixed range on TradingView. The reason I like to do that is I like to see it when the levels are both the same. So if it's giving me that level in EXO charts, that point of control, and it also gave me that same level in TradingView, I'll just say, well, that level's even stronger. There's sometimes a bit of differences. Obviously, the way the volume's calculated, the way the levels are calculated between EXO and TradingView are different, slightly different. The calculations are much more precise in EXO charts. That's why I would always trust EXO charts over TradingView. But yeah, the main difference is I just like them to line up together. If they line up together, it's a it's a very good level. Like you would generally want to see, this point of control. This point of control lining up with this point of control, and you can see they basically are at the moment. So that just means the level's even stronger, basically, because you have it lining up on both platforms. Sometimes there's a bit of difference because TradingView does its calculations different, but that's basically the main reason. I want to see if they're the same or the difference. So that's basically the exact reason why. And the difference is it should in theory be similar the majority of the time, but it's just that the way the volume is calculated, they have different calculations, and well, EXO is just more precise with the way that it's calculated. So I would personally always trust EXO, and then it's just nice to back it up with this. Yeah. It's just nice to back it up. Or some people that don't have EXO charts, for example, or they only have this. So just a way of showing you can basically do it on both. But yeah, these levels are more precise on exocharts. And the other question of this sheet was, is the merging... No, I've read this and I was like, wow, that's a really good suggestion for Varane. Is the merging saved in exocharts, or do you have to do it every time? Yeah, it's it's a little bit annoying. You do have to do it every time. This is an advantage of Sierra charts where you can save it. So yeah, unfortunately in exocharts, you have to do it every time. But then it's web-based. So that's obviously not an amazing excuse, but it is web-based. Obviously, you can get Exo Desktop, but that's still like, I feel it's still in like alpha beta stages. It's not fully released yet. So maybe in Exo Desktop, this is going to be a much more higher possibility. But at the moment, no, it doesn't save. You have to redo it every time, which is a little bit frustrating, but there you go. Next set of questions. No, I would say no. Like I wouldn't play a double distribution setup off of the merged range. Buying tails and selling tails, I would say they still are valid and still things to be aware of in a merged profile, yes. But things like the direct debits, the double distribution setup, no, I wouldn't try and trade that on a merged profile. No, but the answer to that is definitely not. Things like the buying and selling tails of the merge profile, yes, I would definitely pay attention to that, though, yes. And how do you decide which level is more powerful, volume or time? On this Wednesday, I've got the time versus volume stream. So I will cover this on Wednesday. I'm doing time versus volume when we look at discrepancies and how you decide which level is more powerful per se, or what's the difference between them and how you trade with that. So I'll be covering that on Wednesday. And in terms of this question, I guess in terms of are order rules valid? No, because it's hard to give an exact answer, really. It's just because no, it's not. They're all going to be the same, because you have to think, like, for example, the double distribution setup. This is where you've had a move, distribution, move down, distribution. Whereas if you're merging this within, like, let's say, like 10 days, then that inefficiency of price action isn't going to be there over 10 days. So, it's hard to give a direct answer, because obviously every answer for each bit of this is going to be different. But yeah, of the things you've said, no and yes, I would still look at the buying and selling tails, because if they're still showing on a merged profile, then they're obviously strong levels, like the buying and selling tails, and that's you can probably tell that this is a way different than you would trade a double distribution setup. So this is still showing buying and sell, powerful buying and selling, whereas double distribution, if it's merged, it's just like, I don't know. I guess just the easiest way is I've never thought about trading double distribution setup in a merged profile, just because for me it doesn't fit. I just would trade this on its individual day, but not in a merged profile. And I think it's highly unlikely in a merged profile you get a double distribution setup. Possible, but yeah, not something I would trade. Sometimes. Oh yeah, and this is another really great question that we need to get onto Varane about. So he's basically saying that if you accidentally done one more and you wanted to reset, you have to click reset, which resets everything, which is obviously highly frustrating. And unfortunately, that is the case. You have to click reset, and that will reset all of the profiles. You cannot go back just one, which is again a little bit annoying. Yes, I agree. But unfortunately, at the moment, that's what you have to do. When day trading, would it be best to merge together EOR session profiles? I personally don't. Well, that's actually not true. I have sometimes. So the answer is I generally do not, but you can, yes. But I generally do not merge the EOR sessions. I have in the past, if they do line up very nicely into that sort of range, like our daily profiles, but I'm not doing it as often, I must admit. Like the merging of the daily sessions, I'm doing every day. EOR sessions, I'm not really merging together. I like them on their own. But that's not to say I wouldn't. I would still merge them if they're very, very, very nicely together, but it's not something I'm doing daily. But to answer the question, yes, you can merge them. but I generally don't. Yeah, so this is a really good question. Basically, I was saying, obviously, in the stream, that the merging of the profiles really comes from experience, and like recognizing ranges before they're formed, but comes from experience. Like you're not going to have that skill set from just looking at theory, or just having traded for like a year. Like this comes through several years of just doing the same thing day after day after day after day, and so this comes from, after doing it for years. But to have an idea, I suppose this is the bad thing. Like when you're a noob, or when you're newer, you might not even recognize when you've done something wrong. And then it's only like if you come to me and said, Daniel, this is what I've done, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, this is really, really good. And then I'd look at it and I'd say, no, I would never do this in my life. Like, this is really bad. But the thing is, like, as a newer person, I suppose it's a bit like, if something's via experience, how do they actually know when it's good or when it's bad? You can only know that by asking the experienced person themselves. But I can't really think of tips to know you've done it bad. It's a really, 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 really good question, but I'm gonna struggle to answer it. Like, tips to know you've done the merged range bad, without being able to, like, say, have 100 examples from 100 people and then say, this one's good, this one's good, this one's bad, this one's bad, this one's good, this one's bad. I find it struggle to find rules, because I don't have rules for it myself. I struggle to think of a rule that you would invalidate, because it's all just so much based off of, like, visually looking. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to answer and give a really good answer to the question. I just struggle to answer this question because I don't actually have rules for it myself. I struggle to think, like, what would look really bad. It's like one of these things that I would just know by looking at it whether it's good or bad. It's like I look at people's harmonics, and within a second I know this is a good harmonic or this is a really, really bad harmonic. I think harmonics are like the number one thing that I just look at, and within like half a second I'm like, right, this one's good or this one's bad. And I think it's going to be the same with like merging. I'd look at it and say, well, this doesn't make any sense, or yeah, that's actually really good. But then, yeah, to actually say like a heads up of this in merging profiles, I really cannot think. Which obviously isn't the answer that you want to hear, but it's just a really difficult question. And I love the question, I do, but it's just a difficult one to give an answer to. I guess if you think something's going to form a range and then it doesn't form a range, might be an answer, but it's not really the best. I don't know. It's just one of these. It's just a very difficult question to answer, unfortunately. Yeah, I struggle to answer that question. I'm really, really, really sorry. This is probably the first question, but I'm not going to make up an answer just to have an answer. Unfortunately, I just don't really have an answer for that question, to be honest with you, mate. So I apologize. I just cannot really think of a good answer for it. Sorry. But those were all the questions. If I think of something over the weekend or over the rest of the day, I'll just like write it in the group. But currently I just can't really think of an answer to that question of what would make me think it's gone bad early on. If I think of something, I'll write it in the group. But yeah, ending with a bit of a Bitcoin view then. So yeah, really simply, this level currently is support. Obviously, that point of control, we can give you a bit of a region. We've tapped it once, tapped it twice, tapped it 3 times currently. We look on the 5-minute chart. This is another. I mean, look at this. This just makes no sense. Like, so you have to go on the higher term time frames. This is the. I mean, how can TradingView glitch like this? It's like, come on. It's ridiculous sometimes the glitches you get on this website. But anyway, we know the point of control is down there. And we've obviously tapped it once, tapped it twice, tapped it 3 times. We took the highs on the first attempt, made a lower high this attempt. Currently, we can say this is range bound. So this is still the low of the range locally. This is still a low of a local range. We have bound a high of the local range. Okay. So we've really got a bit of a range bound environment. This is obviously the point of control is support, and then we have a arguably harder defined resistance. But this was I wouldn't have taken this short here, but this short here was obviously pretty easy, right into daily open. So just do normal TPO charts. Yeah, right into daily open, swing failure patterning these last highs. So you've done the swing failure pattern, you got the selling tail on the initial balance. What more do you really want? You have to think to yourself, what more do you want to take that short? Obviously, though, this was a good short. You'd have played it back down to exactly the same swing failure pattern. This low. What more do you want for a long? I think this was a very hard. This would have been for me. This would be very hard to take profit, but obviously it's come back down to the lows again. And I don't know. I would be thinking to myself, if this breaks through, where's the next level to look for? I'm personally going to be looking for this naked point of control, 31,675. So that brings us down to around 31,675, down around these lows. All I would be aware of is you definitely have the potential of a swing failure. It's just all the time at the moment you get swing failure patterns. So it's just like, yeah, they're happening a lot. I don't know. They're really good trades. So it's not like I'm surprised they happen a lot, but yeah, they are happening a lot. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we got a swing failure pattern. The thing is, you have to be taking profits on them, because you could just swing failure pattern, come up for a lower high and continue down again. So you do have to take profits on this. It's not like it's a swing failure pattern, oh, let's go to all-time highs. You do have to take profits, but you can expect a swing failure pattern into a lower high at least, sort of thing. So really, you now have this pretty important SR level, which comes in at around the region. I would say that comes in at around 34, basically 34,200. So really what you would want to see is something like this, preferred scenario. Whether this hits the naked point of control or just a swing failure pattern, really I think for a sign of strength over the weekend, you want to see this level start to hold as support, don't you? And that would change the market structure. That would get back above this SR level. I would be slightly cautious holding along into the weekend. I don't really feel the need to hold along. If I got one here onto the weekend, I'd be more than happy. Let's say I do get a nice long here. I have nothing preset. But let's say we get a swing failure pattern set up. I'll be happy to take it. The way that I would trade that is hit a take profit one. Okay. Probably within like a CC of this range into the point of control of this range sort of thing. Yeah, that would be really, really, really nice. So let's say we got like a swing failure pattern. Would come up into the point of control CC region. That would be a lovely take profit one, for example. Put the stop loss on, let it go. If during the weekend it goes up and continues up, hey, well done, you make even more money. If it doesn't, and we just literally just do something like this and continue down and you get stopped out, doesn't matter, you took your profits and you enjoy your weekend, I hope. Personally, I am not trading the weekends. England's match tomorrow, I'm not going to be trading. So yeah, I'm really hardly been trading at all actually this whole week. It's been kind of crazy. Like I think over the past like 14 days has been since we made this high up here. Like since we made that high here, that's now been 16. Yeah, literally for the past 16 days, I've hardly been trading. I've really hardly been trading at all. Yeah, I think this period since we hit that since we hit this daily here, I think I've taken like maybe 5 noticeable trades, which for me is like hardly anything, and I feel like I don't know, it's just like for me there's hardly any really amazing trades. So yeah, personally I'm really hardly trading at all. And the main reason for this is just like there isn't that many amazing setups, because I still hold my short from this high and I still have the long from this low. I'm just like, I'm in a very favorable position in terms of the swing. So I would view both of those as potential swing trades. Obviously, however this breaks is going to be a big deciding factor. If we lose the range, if we lose that range point of control, I think it's overall, we could say it's likely that we come down to the lows. But if we break this range point, well, you have to remember that this was the range point of control at the time. Obviously, this is now changing. But when we made that high, we were obviously coming into that range point of control. So you have to remember, we were coming into the range point of control. We were coming into the CC. This was obviously a very good short. You know, you do swing failure pattern this high. So it's like, yeah, there's been like, for me, I didn't trade any of this movement down really. I didn't really trade any of this section here either. Any of this I wasn't trading. I wasn't trading any of this move down here. It's just like all of this move down. It's just like, hey, I got my short at this high because this for me was a relatively easy setup. I didn't get it at the exact high, but as soon as I come down, I was just like, hey, I think it's just like my style of trading has totally changed. Like I'm not really a scalp trader anymore. I wouldn't say just I don't know. Yeah, I would say I'm becoming less and less of a scalp trader. I'm becoming more and more of a swing trader. Um, I guess it all depends on the context. You know, like we are so range bound. Bitcoin moving so slow. This isn't an environment, I don't think, for scalp traders. Like this is the perfect environment to trade the range. And you know, I don't see the point in over trading this myself. I mean, I could go down here and take some scalps. Just like today, I've showed you there's like 3 different trades, which technically were very, 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 very good trades. But I don't know. For me, it's just, you know, I'm just much more interested in the swing trades at the moment. I'm not going to lie. I'm much more interested in the swing trades. I'm not really taking much scalps. I'm not very interested in the scalps. I'm much more interested in the bigger range, and when we get the break of this range, you know, happy to short the absolute highs of the range, happy to long the absolute lows of the range. When we get really good setups off the CC, off of highs taken, of course, this is a very, very good trade because it's bang on in the middle of the range. You know, that's a really high probability trade. These are really high probability trades. This here, I would say it's a nice scalp trade, but it's not something I would say is a massive high probability and amazing sort of trade. This is a nice trade, but it's not like shorting up here. It's not like longing down here. It's not like shorting here. This is just like, yeah, there's a trade there, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing amazing. So, yeah, and I suppose like if I had more time in the day, I'd be scalping this. But you have to remember, like at the moment, my life is like really, really busy. I'm still living with my mum at the moment. So, obviously, you all know the situation. She obviously had cancer, and you know, my time is at the moment. You know, she's obviously getting better, which is really, really good. But it's still like I'm trying to spend time with her. You know, she doesn't need looking after per se because she's not that like she's getting better. But it's still like it's just for me it's really difficult to concentrate. If I want to scalp trade, I have to be fully concentrated, and when I've got like my mum with me, it's just like I don't know, she can probably hear me say this, it's like, I just can't concentrate the same. So yeah, that's a really big factor for me as well, like that I'm at my mum's at the moment. It just, I don't know, it's just not the same as when I'm just on my own in my own and just like got my music on and trading. I don't know, I just don't have the same concentration. So yeah, that's obviously a personal reason, but for me, it is still a big reason of why I'm less interested in scalping this. I just got other things going on in my life, which I think is acceptable. But then also from the technical reasons, I feel this range also just doesn't really fit amazing for scalp traders either. So, you know, it's a bit of both for me of why I'm a bit less you know, taking less trades, I suppose. But at the end of the day, the trades I am taking are still really good trades. Like I'm still winning basically, I'm still winning basically every trade I'm taking at the moment. So yeah, literally, yeah, I'm on a very, 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 very good win streak off the swing trades, and that's from literally just trading this range. So I'm happy with that, you know. Yeah, so that's the way I would approach this going into the weekend. I feel you got that naked point of control to be aware of. If we lose that, then I think you head back down below 30, you know, come back down to below $30,000. If we lose that, and resistance locally has to be there around 34,200. If you reclaim 34,200, I just feel that you're going to come back up into the point of control, which was obviously the previous point of control. Now that sits at around it was basically around 36,400, and obviously the bigger one, which is from Sunday, you have to remember that these levels change, still comes in at 36,853. So do not forget about that level either. So yeah, there you go. I'll just take this last question before I end. And somebody says here, this guy called JJ, he lost some excellent positions trying to ride swing trades. Well, I can kind of understand this point. So basically, it's not a question, but basically what he's saying here, and you have to remember, we've been in this range for over a month. And I suppose what he's saying is maybe he longed the lows, shorted the highs, and he's tried to maybe longed here, held it up to range high, and then it's come and stopped him out of his trade, I suppose, is what he's on about. You got to remember, if you're in a range bound environment, you should be taking pretty hefty profits up at the highs, or at, in my opinion, closing the trades. There's just no, I would say you would, if you're in a long from the low and you've come up and you've taken the highs with the swing failure patterns in a range bound environment, obviously it's just a really good take. I would be thinking at this point, there's no way you would have not taken at least 80% profits. Because there was just no, this is a situation, I suppose, if you're really, really, really focused on the long term, then maybe you might be like, okay, I'll take no profits at all. But then I would be thinking to myself, you'd have to react. So let's say you took no profits during this whole rise and you're like, hey, I'm after $50,000, so I'm not going to take any profits. Fair enough. And then you could be like, I'll hold on, I'll hold on, I'll hold on, I'll hold on. But when you see this, like the swing failure pattern, and you get the rejection, and then you get the loss of market structure, and you get the back test, like this is your moment to say, hey, I try to hold it longer. It's pretty clearly so obvious it's going to go lower. Let's close the trade, or let's at least take 80%. So you didn't take it at the high because you wanted to try and hold it, but you've taken it lower because the market clearly is telling you it wants to go lower at that point. Yeah, swing failure pattern, change of market structure, support into resistance. It was pretty obvious that this was going lower at this point. And obviously from there, you fell another, 20, nearly 30%. So, yeah, that was a comment that I saw in the corner of my eye that was good. I understand how some people hold on to their trades too long, but it's just because you're not trading the charts at that point. Like if you're still holding on to longs while this is dropping like here, you're holding out in hope. Like the chart is clearly bearish at that point. It's clearly range bound. It's clearly bearish. And so if you still hold on to longs here, it literally is just holding out in hope. You hope that it continues higher, not because the chart is clearly telling you it's going down. But yeah, that was just a morning update. Victor's already obviously done a update this morning, so I recommend you all go check his update after this one. And as always, a brilliant update. Like Victor does the good updates. So yeah, you can go check Victor's update, which he done for the members as well. So thank you ever so much, everybody. And I suppose all I will say is this is an absolutely perfect time to go watch all the modules on the website. To be honest, you're absolutely blessed with the time that you have here to spend some time on the modules. Yeah, people that have watched all the website modules once, go watch them again. If you watch them 3 times, go watch them for the 4th time, because it doesn't help. Just looking at the charts all day with nothing's happening, it's not really going to be that beneficial to you. I would think it's a much better use of your time going onto the website, watching the modules, and just like really cementing, implementing, and just fully understanding everything. I think that's a better use of your time than just like looking at the charts when it's literally doing nothing all day. It's not really a good use of your time. And time is the most precious commodity in the world. So yeah, make a good use of your time. Do not waste it. So yeah, thank you everybody. Hope that you've enjoyed. And yeah, I'll be around in Discord all day. Still, although I'm not trading, I'm still around. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much. Have a good day and goodbye. Cheers.